Good morning, everyone. I'm Lisa Bender. I'm the president of the Minneapolis City Council. I'm really honored to welcome you all to City Hall this morning. Before we start our official business, we have a really special presentation honoring Women's History Month, and I'll invite all the folks who are here from our Women's Employee Resource Group to come up and join me. Casey says clump together, and we always do what Casey says. All right. So we're going to get started, and I'm joined by Councilmember Palmisano and the Council Vice President Andrea Jenkins. More council members will maybe joining us as we go. So I just want to say a couple of things before I start reading this resolution, and that is I'm joined by members of the Women's Employee Resource Group, and we were just at a little networking event, and we talked about a couple things. One is that women still only make up about 30% of our whole workforce in the city of Minneapolis. And every time I hear that number, I'm both sort of surprised because it feels really low, but I also know that because we feel it and we notice it. And I wanted to share here again that I see women doing their job, and then a lot of other jobs too. The emotional work of holding, our city together, of leading through crisis, of the day-to-day connections, when someone is going through a family crisis or has a birthday. It's often the people who are standing up here in front of you that are organizing the card or the support. And even in a more serious way, I really think the women of color in our city, during a time where we're focused in race equity and responding to trauma and crisis in our community, are really leading through. And I'm not sure we're always really compensating women for this work, lifting up their leadership enough. And I think it's something we all need to keep in mind, continue to do better with, and really support the leadership of the women, especially the women of color who are doing so much for our city. So with that, today we're here to celebrate and honor Women's History Month. You want to read some of it with me? Perfect. So me and Cheyenne will read it together. I'll just do the first chunk, and then I'll just turn it over to you. Sometimes the back and forth is a little hopscotchy. Whereas Women's History Month traces its beginnings back to 1911 with the creation of International Women's Day and Congress designating March 1987 as Women's History Month. And whereas the month of March is observed nationally as Women's History Month to promote equality and celebrate women's roles in history and society. And whereas on March 6th, we will celebrate International Women's Day as an enterprise, the theme each for equal, collectively, each one of us can help create a gender equal world. And whereas Women's History Month acknowledges and honors numerous past and present educators, scientists, activists, pioneers, leaders, artists, inventors, entrepreneurs, and elders with special ceremonies and activities. And whereas female employees make up approximately 30% of the city of Minneapolis workforce, and
the City of Minneapolis leadership strives to create an organization where women, especially women of color, are equitably represented and thriving across departments and roles. And whereas to support women in the City of Minneapolis enterprise, the Women of Minneapolis Employee Network was formed in 2017 as an employee resource group for those interested in the advancement and empowerment of female employees. And whereas women will celebrate Women's History Month with events throughout the month, and whereas Women envisions a working environment in which female employees are informed, empowered, and confident in their access to the resources they need to accelerate their careers. And whereas all women are leaders, regardless of their former roles or leadership positions, and whereas Women offers female employees lean-in circles for peer support, networking opportunities, and a policy resource group, and whereas Women seek partnerships with other employee resource groups to support collaborative efforts that create synergies around common goals and showcase their work and membership, and whereas women will offer the City of Minneapolis recommendations on action steps to support female employees in the city's workforce and develop their voices and in needs in city initiatives.
Now, therefore, be it resolved that the mayor and city council do hereby commemorate the achievements of women and their role in the development and history of the region and nation, and join in recognizing the annual celebration of Women's History Month. Thank you. Thank you all so much.
Thank you all. We are really excited to be here today and just we're excited to be joined with all the fabulous women here. One thing I did want to just share with you all, we have selected a new executive sponsor for our group, Karen Moe. She is the Deputy Director of the Neighborhood and Community Relations Department, so we are honored to have her leading our group, and we know that Karen will fight for us at every table that she is sitting at. So thank you. And then one additional thing I wanted to just let everybody know is next Friday is International Women's Day. And so we will be holding a panel discussion of female employees at the city in the Rotunda at noon. So please come to that. Thank you.
It's just an honor to be able to speak, and I just want to acknowledge that 2020 is the 100th anniversary of women's suffrage, and in this really important election year, I want to challenge women, and I know that women are going to be the leading force to make change in our country, and particularly Black women. And so I just want to lift that up, that while we're in this political environment, that voting is a right that has only been granted to women in this country in the past 100 years, and we must exercise that right and lead our country to greater change. So, thank you and congratulations.
Karen's going to close us out.
I just want to say on this day commemorating Women's History Month, acknowledging this beautiful group of women standing here right now at all levels in our government and coming from so many different communities, representing so many different people, that we come into this city and work together to support one another. And as Cheyenne said, I am here to fight for what we need to fight for, and I really want to extend that beyond just this group of women standing here into our entire system and everybody that makes up our entire system, and acknowledge that all of us have work to do to make our environment healthy and welcoming and supportive of all women to come when they come in to be partners with us in this work. So with that, thank you. Happy Women's Month. This is the
Good morning again. I'm Lisa Bender. I'm the president of the Minneapolis City Council. I'll call to order this regular meeting of the City Council for February 28th and ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Councilmember Goodman is absent. Johnson.
Here.
Palmisano.
Present.
Gordon.
Here.
Cano is absent. Reich.
Here.
Fletcher.
Here.
Jenkins.
Here.
Schrader.
Here.
Warsame.
Present.
Cunningham is absent. Ellison.
Present.
President Bender.
Here.
There are 10 members present.
Let the record reflect that we have a quorum. The agenda for today's meeting is before us. Are there any amendments to the agenda from council members? Seeing none, is there a motion to adopt the agenda?
So moved.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. That carries and the agenda is adopted. The next item is consideration of the minutes from our February 14th meeting. May I have a motion to accept those minutes?
So moved.
All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. That carries and the minutes are accepted. Finally, we have the referral of matters to proper standing committees for the next cycle. May I have that motion, please?
So moved.
All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. That carries and those referrals are made. The next order of business is reports from our standing committees. We'll begin with a report from the Economic Development and Regulatory Services Committee, given by the Vice Chair, Councilmember Ellison.
Thank you, Madam President. The Economic Development and Regulatory Services Committee has 6 items to bring forward for approval. 1 is the liquor license approvals. 2 is the liquor license renewals. 3 is the gambling license renewals. 4 is a license conditions for rental dwelling units. 5 is the Minnesota Department of Employment, Economic Development, Metropolitan Council Tax-Based Revitalization Account and Hennepin County's Environmental Response Fund brownfield grants. And 6 is the passage of a resolution committing to continuing the work of economic inclusion, affordable housing, and racial equity by working together as elected officials and departmental staff. And with that, I'll move approval of all 6 items.
Councilmember Ellison has moved the committee report. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Johnson.
Aye.
Palmisano.
Aye.
Gordon.
Aye.
Cano.
Aye.
Reich.
Aye.
Fletcher.
Aye.
Jenkins.
Aye.
Schrader.
Aye.
Warsame.
Aye.
Ellison.
Aye.
President Bender.
Aye.
There are 11 ayes.
That carries and those items are adopted. The next report is from the Housing Policy and Development Committee, given by the Chair, Councilmember Gordon.
Thank you very much, President Bender. The Housing Policy and Development Committee is bringing forward 3 items for consideration today. The first is a resolution approving the sale of various properties for our Missing Middle Housing Pilot Program. Second item is authorizing the issuance of a notice of funding availability for the implementation of the Housing Stabilization Pilot Program. And the third item is deleting from the agenda a resolution calling on MPHA to delay further Section 18 demolition and disposition action. I'll move all 3 items, and I would like to speak to item 1 very briefly.
Thank you. Councilmember Gordon has moved the committee report. Go ahead, Chair.
I just wanted to highlight this. This is a Missing Middle Housing Pilot Program, and we were surprised with how successful it was. This was an effort to get more of that missing middle kind of housing that's above duplex, triplex, or fourplex, but smaller, developed in the city. We had lots of developers who applied for this. We're creating 50 units of housing. 28 of those will be long-term affordability. It involves 9 separate lots. 8 of them are in Ward 5, and 1 of them is in Ward 12.
Thank you. Is there any further discussion? I put myself in queue. I just also wanted to comment on items 1 and 2, and then also mention the study session that Chair Gordon organized earlier. Was it yesterday?
Yes.
Yesterday. The days are full. And I just wanted to just highlight the really innovative work that's coming through the HPD committee and being led by our housing division and CPED. I think items 1 and 2 are really great examples of this, both the Missing Middle Housing Pilot Program and the new funding that will be available through the Housing Stabilization Pilot Program. And then we heard some really exciting ideas about how to rethink some of our funding for home ownership programs that I think are going to be a big benefit to our community, especially those folks that we're really trying to target, which which is potential homeowners of color, and really digging into the data and details that are showing how we can continue to improve our work. So I also wanted to note that for item 1, we had significantly more applications than we were able to fund this time, which shows a lot of interest from partners in our community. And so just as we go forward with budget for this year or beyond, just kind of highlighting some of these pilot ideas, and I think starting to see where we really want to focus funds, where we're getting the most impact. So thanks, Mr. Chair, and everyone who's been leading that work. Council Vice President.
Thank you, Madam President. I do just want to echo your thoughts around particularly home ownership opportunities for really low income communities, and the innovative work that our CPED Housing Department is bringing forward, and also thank the Chair, Chair Gordon. So my sentiments exactly.
Thank you. Anyone else want to comment? Seeing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Johnson.
Aye.
Palmisano.
Aye.
Gordon.
Aye.
Cano.
Aye.
Reich.
Aye.
Fletcher.
Aye.
Jenkins.
Aye.
Schrader.
Aye.
Warsame.
Aye.
Ellison.
Aye.
President Bender.
Aye.
There are 11 ayes.
That carries, and those items are adopted. The next report comes from the Intergovernmental Relations Committee, given by the Chair, Councilmember Johnson.
Thank you, Madam President. The Intergovernmental Relations Committee brings forward 4 items. The first is amendments to our legislative agenda and policy positions. The second is authorizing a submission of comments on the proposed federal affirmative furthering fair housing rule. The third is approving a policy objective framework around redistricting plans and approving an alternative redistricting plan. The fourth is directing staff to pursue amendments related to redistricting and the conduct of municipal elections. And I'll stand for any questions.
Thank you. Councilmember Johnson has moved the committee report. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, I will then also just comment quickly here. Councilmember Johnson mentioned this. I don't know if you want to say anything further as well, but we did, as he mentioned in this item, talk about, which is item 3, the redistricting ward boundaries. We adopted some policy goals that will shape and guide the work of our city clerk's office, which is supporting basically both the city council and the charter commission in decision making coming forward. They outlined a couple of alternatives, and the committee did choose the alternative that I think has been pretty widely discussed, which would look like either working as fast as possible to redistrict in time for the 2021 election to have a 4-year term based on the new ward boundaries. And if that becomes untenable or impossible, to shift to a special election for the city council in 2023, resulting in 2 city council terms that would be 2 years each in 2021 and 2023. So I just wanted to make sure, to highlight that it's a big, obviously, discussion and decision for our city. Appreciate so much the careful work that the clerk's office has done along with the city attorney's office, because they've really dug into the details. And then just finally wanted to mention again, to be a complete broken record on this issue, doing option 1, as we recommended, if approved by the council, would require several changes to both the state law and to our city's charter. So making that happen will require efforts at the legislature, as well as with our own body, potentially looking at a city charter amendment, which would require a unanimous vote of this body or a ballot question to the voters. So just want to make sure my colleagues are fully updated, know what's going on. And again, Mr. Chair, if you want to add anything, welcome.
No, I appreciate the comments on that. I know that we encourage folks to attend, especially our first meeting where there was an overview and a presentation, and the clerk has given a really lengthy presentation diving into what's a very technical, complicated matter here. I know memos have also gone out to council members about this as well. And really the reality is there's no good decision here. There's trade-offs with every single option, and I think what we're doing is making the most informed option, balancing the trade-offs, and really the option that's recommended by staff in terms of how you best really uphold the elections, uphold people's ability to participate, and try to reduce all the different consequences on this.
Thank you. Any further discussion on the IGR agenda? Seeing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Johnson.
Aye.
Palmisano.
Aye.
Gordon.
Aye.
Cano.
Aye.
Reich.
Aye.
Fletcher.
Aye.
Jenkins.
Aye.
Schrader.
Aye.
Warsame.
Aye.
Ellison.
Aye.
President Bender.
Aye.
There are 11 ayes.
That carries, and those items are adopted. The next report will come from the Public Health, Environment, Civil Rights, and Engagement Committee, given by the Vice Chair, Councilmember Gordon.
Thank you very much, President Bender. The Public Health, Environment, and Civil Rights Engagement Committee is bringing forward, let me just make sure, it's not three, 2 items. These both have to do with appointments to advisory committees. The first is appointments to our Minneapolis Advisory Committee on Aging, and the second is appointments to our Transgender Equity Council. I'll move both items forward for approval.
Councilmember Gordon has moved the committee report. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Johnson.
Aye.
Palmisano.
Aye.
Gordon. Cano.
Aye.
Reich.
Aye.
Fletcher.
Aye.
Jenkins.
Aye.
Schrader.
Aye.
Warsame.
Aye.
Ellison.
Aye.
President Bender.
Aye.
There are 11 ayes.
That carries, and that report is adopted. The next report comes from the Public Safety and Emergency Management Committee, given by the Chair, Councilmember Cano.
Thank you, Madam President. And the Public Safety and Emergency Management Committee is bringing forward 5 items today. Item number 1 is approving the reappointment by the Executive Committee of Mr. Barrett Lane to the position of Director of Emergency Management for a 2-year term beginning January 2nd, 2020. Item number 2 is authorizing a contract with the University of Minnesota for bomb detection services at the TCF Stadium. Item number 3 is authorizing a contract with the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension for police investigator participation in the state's Human Trafficking Task Force. Item number 4 is authorizing a contract with the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension for police crime analyst participation on the state's Human Trafficking Task Force. The final item is accepting a training reimbursement from the Minnesota Board of Firefighter Training and Education. And I would like to bring these items forward to our full council.
Councilmember Cano has moved the committee report. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Johnson.
Aye.
Palmisano.
Aye.
Gordon.
Aye.
Cano.
Aye.
Reich.
Aye.
Fletcher.
Aye.
Jenkins.
Aye.
Schrader.
Aye.
Warsame.
Aye.
Ellison.
Aye.
President Bender. There are 11 ayes.
Aye. Thank you. That carries, and those items are adopted. Next is a report from the Transportation and Public Works Committee, given by the Chair, Councilmember Reich.
Thank you, Madam President. The committee forwards 14 items today. Item 1 is the First Avenue Street South resurfacing project. 2 is the 4th Street Northeast Edison residential street resurfacing project. 3 is the 2020 Minneapolis Open Streets. That's approving the list of routes and dates for those events. 4 is the contract with Employee Strategies for training for Public Works Department. 5 is the contract with Park Mobile for mobile payment application for on-street parking. 6 is the grant application for the 2020 Metropolitan Council Regional Solicitation for Federal Transportation Funds. 7 is the request for proposals for the Upper Harbor Terminal Redevelopment Project Planning Engineering Services for street and public utility infrastructure. 8 is the Industrial Boulevard Multi-Use Trail appropriation increase. 9 is the President's Bicycle Boulevard layout approval. 10 is the bid for First Street North over Bassett Creek Tunnel Repair Project. 11 is the bid for Fridley Softening Plant Conduit and Stop Log Project. 12 is the bid for upgrades of American with Disabilities pedestrian ramps. 13 is the bid for the Leamington Ramp Escalator Removal Project. And 14 is the American Disabilities Act Transition Plan for Public Works. Madam President, I move all items.
Councilmember Reich has moved the committee reports. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Johnson.
Aye.
Palmisano.
Aye.
Gordon.
Aye.
Cano.
Aye.
Reich.
Aye.
Fletcher.
Aye.
Jenkins.
Aye.
Schrader.
Aye.
Warsame.
Aye.
Ellison.
Aye.
President Bender.
Aye.
There are 11 ayes.
That carries, and that report is adopted. Next is a report from the Ways and Means Committee, given by the Chair, Councilmember Warsame.
Thank you, Madam President. The Ways and Means Committee brings 19 items for approval today. Item number 1 is a Civil Service Commission appointment. Item number 2 is the reappointment of the City Assessor. Item number 3 is a legal settlement, a claim of Paul Michael Dodge. Item number 4 is a legal settlement, and this is a workers' compensation claim of David Gillen. Item number 5 is a contract amendment with M.A. Mortensen Company for carpentry and casework for the public service building project. Item number 6 is a contract amendment with Modern Piping, Inc. for mechanical work for the public service building project. Item number 7 is a contract amendment with Kevit Companies for increased scope of work for the public service building project. Item number 8 is a contract amendment with Danny's Construction Company, LLC, for structural steel installation work for the public service building project. Item number 9 is a contract amendment with Lejeune Steel Company for structural steel supply for the public service building project. Item number 10 is a contract amendment with Margolis Companies for landscaping work for the public service building project. Item number 11 it's a contract amendment with Distinctive Cabinet Design, Inc. for casework and millwork for the public service building project. Item number 12 is a contract amendment with Knutson Construction Services, Inc. for concrete superstructure work for the public service building project. Item number 13 is a contract amendment with RTL Construction, Inc. for drywall and fireproofing work for the public service building project. Item number 14 is a bid for the custom vinyl artwork for public service building project. Item number 15 is a contract amendment with AP Midwest LLC for the Eastside Storage and Maintenance Facility project. Item number 16 is a bid for Roof Depot Hazardous Materials Abatement project. Item number 17 is a Capital Long Range Improvement Committee click appointments. Item number 18 is the 2021-2026 capital budget process and net debt bond resource levels. And the final item, item number 19, is the downtown traffic control services funding for 2020 to 2022. And I move approval of all 19 items.
Councilmember Warsame has moved the committee report. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Johnson.
Aye.
Palmisano.
Aye.
Gordon.
Aye.
Kano.
Aye.
Reich.
Aye.
Fletcher.
Aye.
Jenkins.
Aye.
Schrader.
Aye.
Warsame.
Aye.
Ellison.
Aye.
President Bender.
Aye.
There are 11 ayes.
That carries, and those items are adopted. Next is a report from the Zoning and Planning Committee given by the Chair, Councilmember Schrader.
Thank you, Madam President. The Zoning and Planning Committee will bring forward 5 items for approval today. The first is the appointments to the City Planning Commission. Number 2 is the areaway vacation at 125 First Street North. The third is the approval of a street vacation at 907 Sibley Street Northeast. The fourth is the approval of rezoning at 1600 Penn Avenue North. And the fifth is the approval of rezoning at 2800 North Wayzata Boulevard. I move all items for approval.
Councilmember Schrader has moved the committee reports. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Johnson.
Aye.
Palmisano.
Aye.
Gordon.
Aye.
Kano.
Aye.
Reich.
Aye.
Fletcher.
Aye.
Jenkins.
Aye.
Schrader.
Aye.
Warsame.
Aye.
Ellison.
Aye.
President Bender.
Aye.
There are 11 ayes.
That carries, and those items are adopted. The next order of business is our introduction and referral calendar, and we have 2 items this morning, both of which were noticed in the last cycle. Since Councilmember Goodman is absent today, these are both authored by her, but it will be the Vice Chair of the EDRS Committee, Councilmember Ellison, and moving these on behalf of the author. So first we have a motion by Councilmember Ellison on behalf of Councilmember Goodman to introduce, give first reading to, and refer to the Economic Development and Regulatory Services Committee the subject matter of an ordinance related to the administrative issuance of licenses under Title 13 of the Code of Ordinances. Second, we have a motion by Councilmember Ellison on behalf of Councilmember Goodman to introduce, give first reading to, and refer to the Economic Development and Regulatory Services Committee the subject matter of an ordinance to amend provisions related to liquor catering licenses pursuant to Title 14 of the Code of Ordinances. Are there any questions or comments from council members? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. That carries, and those ordinances are referred to the Economic Development and Regulatory Services Committee in the next cycle. The next order of business is resolutions, and we have the one honorary resolution declaring the month of March as Women's History Month. Any comments from council members? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. That carries, and that honorary resolution is adopted. Finally, we have the order of announcements. Are there any announcements from council members? Councilor Ellison.
I believe we're still in our early voting phase, so just want to, I said I was going to be announcing at every council meeting, so making good on that promise. And so please go early vote. I think the city does it best. So, go to 980 East Hennepin, early voting center there, where we have fantastic staff, or go downtown, and go to the government center, I suppose, and early vote there. But no matter what, please know we got this. We have the primary coming up, and I hope everybody gets a chance to have their voice heard. So that's all.
Thank you, Councilor Ellison, Chair of our Elections Committee. And our primary, well, if you want to vote in the polls on your primary, that's on Tuesday. So just short few days away. Any further announcements? I don't see any. With that, we've concluded our business for the City Council today. We do have a request for a closed session related to labor contract negotiations. May I have a motion to adjourn to that closed session?
So moved.
All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed say no. That carries, and those items are adopted. Thanks so much. Have a great weekend.